morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Friday, August 6th already, the 18th Friday of Ordinary Time, and it is the Feast of the Transfiguration. And that's what today's Gospel is about, in which, I'll explain what that all means after we read the Gospel. So let's get to the Gospel. It's from Mark chapter 9, verses 2 through 10. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John and led them up a high mountain apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his clothes were dazzling white, such as no fuller on earth could bleach them. Then Elijah appeared to them along with Moses, and they were conversing with Jesus. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He hardly knew what to say. They were so terrified. Then a cloud came, casting a shadow over them. Then from a cloud came a voice, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Suddenly, looking around, they no longer saw anyone, but Jesus alone with them. As they were coming down from the mountain, he charged them not to relate what they had seen to anyone, except when the Son of Man had risen from the dead. So they kept the matter to themselves, questioning what rising from the dead meant. Okay, we've got the Transfiguration of Jesus, as already mentioned, as that is the feast day of today. And the Transfiguration itself, and as it shows and explains kind of briefly right here, it's the miraculous event where Jesus reveals himself as the Son of God. And as you can even see that God is talking to them, as the voice that came from the cloud is God. And this is known as the event where human nature meets God. And God teaches only three, Peter, James, and John. There's a reason he didn't show it to the whole world, or to everybody in the area that could see him. It was only those three. And he just shows where Jesus is being the true bridge between heaven and earth. And we'll also recognize that Moses and Elijah, 2 prominent Old Testament figures, they're with Jesus as well, kind of showing that the Old Testament's there and the prophets, and Jesus is there with them, of completing the new, and fulfilling the old. So the New Testament came to fulfill the Old Testament, and so it's all right there. And just the term transfigure, that means a momentary divine radiance, and that is what is taking place here, because this took place before the Passion of Christ. It took place, really, I don't know if it was before all the disciples were chosen or not. I'll have to look a little bit deeper, but it was definitely before Jesus' arrest and his passion, scourging, death on the cross. So, which is crazy, right? Because he's glowing at the top of this mountain with these 2 Moses and Elijah Old Testament figures that happened, that lived years and years ago. So Jesus became radiant with glory on the mountain, just shining bright, and just being that beacon of light for the world, really, and particularly for these three disciples, Peter, James, and John. Peter, the first pope; James, I forget what exactly. I know his feast day wasn't too long ago, but then John, the one that was at the foot of the cross with Jesus' mother Mary. So, Peter, James, and John, there's a reason he chose those 3. And it's also a reason why Mark's gospel mentions those 3. And so as we kind of go through today, what really stood out to me is this took place with just these select 3, but yet we know and see, especially with Peter, how much he doubted. Even though he saw this, Peter's seeing all of this, the walking on the water, where Jesus calls Peter and holds his hand and pulls him up, where Jesus hands Peter the keys to the kingdom, and just you can just see how big of a figure Peter is, and how the voice of God came from a cloud So not the voice of the physical Jesus right there. It was a voice from the cloud of God. And he says, "This is my beloved son, listen to him." And I find that quite interesting that even all this stuff that Peter witnessed and experienced and felt and believed and trusted, he still denied Jesus 3 times. And I think that that's just a testament of just how merciful God is and how none of us need to be afraid of what God can do with us, even amongst our human weaknesses. And I think that's the challenge for today: is be confident, be bold. Don't be afraid to have difficult conversations or make a difficult transition or make a change somewhere, um, or just do something different. Um, because no matter what, it's worth a shot. Because especially if it helps improve yourself. Because if God can do what He did with Peter, even after Peter denied Him 3 times, He can do a lot with us. So keep that at the forefront of our mind, today and every day. Have a great one. God bless, and keep it real. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.